Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Welcome to Those Were the Days, the show where we take a look at some classic TV from the days past and look at it with today's eyes to see if it's still worth watching. Lucky for us, more often than not, it has been. Now we're still talking holiday shows, and again this week it's another Thanksgiving episode. I'm your podcaster-in-chief, Audie, but I wouldn't be able to handle this without the rest of my podcasting people. First, here's our chief of staff, Amy.
Nothing says America like pranking your competent, hardworking female coworker by putting 2 live turkeys in her office.
Then there's our press secretary, Steven.
I learned a lot about different jobs at the White House when I was watching this show. There are a lot of people just wandering around at any given place at any given time. And I got to thinking, if I had a job at the White House, I want to be the guy that finds the president a knife or new shoes or something else completely unrelated to the job of being president. That seems like a job I could handle. So sign me up whenever you're ready, Mr. President.
And finally, our communications director, Travis.
Hello? Yes, this is the White House. How'd you get this number? Who? Hang on, I'll check. Hey, Charlie. Yeah, I got a guy on the phone named Sean Spencer. Yeah, he said he's looking for a Burton Guster. Oh, hang on. What's that? Oh, he also goes by the name John Slade. What? I'm sorry. Oh, his friends call him Clementine Woolly Socks? Yeah, any of this ringing a bell with you? No, I'm sorry, sir. I don't think you have the right show. Hey, is that the carving knife for the president?
So this week, we are talking about The West Wing. This is one of my absolute favorite shows. So before I start gushing, let's see what everybody else's history is with it. So, does anybody have a history with this show?
I have avoided it desperately. Like a lot. I do have ready. This is my one West Wing connection. When I got my first real tattoo, my first big tattoo, it took 2 sessions because I did a bad job prepping for the first one. So the second time, and talking is really hard for me, and my tattoo artist was real chatty and liked to have a conversation. But fortunately for me, the second session, there was another tattoo artist downstairs with her, and they put on a West Wing podcast. And that was and so I could just zone out. None of it mattered to me at all. And I could just ignore being stabbed with needles for 3 hours.
Nice.
Literally my only West Wing connection.
How about you,
I mean,
Steven? Or Travis?
Audie, my history with the West Wing goes back all the way to about an hour ago when I started watching this episode. I had never seen any of it before. I get inundated, not just you, but other people telling me I need to watch the West Wing. It's kind of a running joke on our Highlander show that that I need to watch the West Wing.
Mhm.
So I have now watched the West Wing.
Project done. Check it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Audie, I'm going to break the mold here a little bit and tell you I also have never seen the West Wing. However,
There we go.
I have always been curious about the West Wing, and this is not my first attempt to watch this show because I am a big fan of Aaron Sorkin's screenwriting. And I know you can tell an Aaron Sorkin screenplay from 15 miles away. It's because he's got a rhythm. But I'm obsessed with the rhythm. I love his rhythm. I love things that he writes. I enjoy the cadence of the people that talk in his shows, not because it's realistic, but because it's definitely not. No one can talk like this, and that many people are not quick-witted enough to carry these conversations with the speed at which they do in his shows. But
The Newsroom was one of my favorite shows.
Yes,
I
also
love
a
Aaron
really
Sorkin.
great
that one.
example. Aaron
Love that show.
Sorkin's legit, and I really had a good time with this. And I'm happy that I was made to sit down and watch an episode because when I tried to watch episode 1, season 1, forever ago, my wife was like, I do not want to watch a president political show. And I was like, well, we'll find something else. You know, turn back on Cartoon
Yeah.
Network. I don't know. It was just, but I'm excited to have finally dove in. So thank you for this.
Yeah. You're welcome. So I came to the West Wing watching reruns on Bravo when I was in college. Like a buddy of mine was like, hey, this is on. I've heard good things. Let's watch it. We watched it. The episode we watched starts off with Rob Lowe's character up against a female blonde on a political show, and she just wipes the floor with him. And then back at the West Wing offices, Josh and Toby, Josh runs into Toby's office and says, Toby, come quick. Sam's getting his ass kicked by a girl. Toby runs and then tells one of the office girls, hey, Ginger, get the popcorn. And as soon as we both saw that opening, we were just like, okay, we're in for this, whatever it is. This looks good. And I was hooked. So I got hooked on it. By the time I was watching it, they had finished the 6th season. So I actually watched the 7th season live on TV. And when Julie and I got together, she had never seen it. She had the same opinion as Stephanie. She's like, I'm not watching those stuffy political dramas. Like, it's not that. Trust me. It's not that. We got her into it. We started buying up all the seasons because it was years later and they were on sale at Target. We got friends of ours into it and would have West Wing Wednesdays watching stuff. So yeah, I'm a bit of a fan. I'm a bit biased. I'm gonna admit that right now. Not that I don't, know that Aaron Sorkin is not perfect. I understand that. This show is not perfect. I understand that, but I still love it. So the
I
West
do
Wing,
like to think canonically in my head that Rob Lowe's character is just the same between this and Parks and Rec. And he's
Mhm.
just decided he can do more good on the local level. And so that's why he's just in Pawnee now.
Yeah,
Really, really killing it.
that's not the worst headcanon to have.
I'm just
Yeah.
that's all I had. I was like, Chris Traeger, what are you doing in the White
Mhm.
House?
That's
Yeah.
kind of how I view Bradley Whitford is when he couldn't win the company from Billy Madison, he just went into politics.
Okay, so real quick, when this episode started and I'm watching it and I'm seeing like all the actors, but Bradley Whitford comes on screen and I'm like, I know him. Why do I know Brad? And like the name didn't trigger right away, but I'm like, why is he so familiar to me right now? And part of it was Billy Madison, but the other part of it was I just recently watched Get Out for the first time.
Yeah.
He is in that, and
Mhm.
he is incredible in that.
Mhm.
But I didn't recognize him here because now he has a full head of gray hair. But
Mhm.
as soon as I figured out who he was, I'm like, oh, I hate you.
He's so good
Because
at
his-
everything.
He is, but his character is so despicable in Get Out. But through
Right.
the veil of being like a good person and an ally, and then you find out who he really is, and it's just like, ugh, I'm gonna go take a dozen showers now. And so seeing him here with brown hair, and I'm just like, that's why he looks so familiar. Because like the rest of the cat, I mean, I love Dule Hill, obviously from my opening.
Mhm.
And he's so baby faced in this.
Oh yeah.
He was just a child.
Yeah.
Richard Schiff, I will
Mhm.
watch in anything. He's
Dude,
always good. Same with like John Spencer.
John Spencer's great.
Yeah,
John
I love
Spencer
him.
is. I have loved him since the first time I saw The Rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is what I like. I
Womack.
think of him as Womack.
Whoa,
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Yeah, every time. He's such a
So the
good
West
angry
Wing-
old man.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, Allison Janney. Allison Janney is
Oh
a
my God.
treasure. She's so good.
Preach.
Yeah. This is where I'm going to tell you guys to keep watching because if you want to see Allison Janney at her peak. So The West Wing. It's an American political drama created by Aaron Sorkin, developed under Warner Brothers, aired on NBC from September 1999 to May 2006. So 7 seasons. It's about a fictional Democratic administration of President Josiah Jed Bartlet. And stars, well, we've gone through it, just about everybody. A heck of a cast. Martin Sheen, John Spencer, Allison Janney, Bradley Whitford, Rob Lowe, Richard Schiff, Dule Hill, Janelle Maloney. And we didn't get in this episode, but Stockard Channing plays the First Lady.
Oh dang.
Uh,
Yeah, and she is incredible when she's on screen. Um, Also, The West Wing tended to be a lot like ER, and like just about everybody came through here at some point and had some kind of starring role. We talked about Friends last week. Matthew Perry was in a few episodes of The West Wing as an incredible character. Got sucked into the Aaron Sorkin universe. So, um, so for those of you who don't know, The West Wing was created by Aaron Sorkin, known for his writing of plays, TVs, and movies. So he started out, his career really took off after writing the play and eventually the screenplay for A Few Good Men.
Oh dang. All right. I didn't
So,
know that's where he
Mhm.
started.
yep,
yeah.
that's how he started. He then worked on the thriller Malice. Um, and after that, he wrote the screenplay for The American President,
Mhm.
which Martin Sheen was also in as the chief of staff in that movie. Um, After that, he worked as a script doctor in the late 90s, doing things like adding quips to The Rock, which we just talked about. Rewrote some of Will Smith's scenes in Enemy of the State, stuff like that. He broke into TV with Sports Night, which
Which is a
was
great show.
a half-hour comedy drama about a sports news show and network. Aired on ABC from 98 to 2000, so 2 seasons. After season 1 of Sports Night, um, he had the idea to do The West Wing, and The West Wing actually came from leftover ideas from The American President. Um, so he got together with director Tommy Schlamme, and they basically created The West Wing. Aaron did the writing, Tommy did the directing, and they were like this really good partnership.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at the name, but
It's
when
really
when
good.
names rhyme like that, and that
Mhm.
sounds like a name that like an 8-year-old would tell you.
Mhm.
Like who was it again? Tommy Schlamme?
Mhm.
Like in the middle of a
I
lie. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Made up
it,
person.
you've
I know
got
it's a real person, and I'm sorry, but it just I hear that and I just cannot help but snicker.
well, you've also got to hand it to him that he goes by Tommy Schlamme. He's like, screw it, I'm
Yeah.
just driving into the
He
It's
sketch.
could
true.
be Tom. Like he
Yeah,
could,
Mhm.
yeah.
you
He could
know.
I
go by
mean,
Tom, Thomas, whatever, but
Yep.
so
respect for somebody that can pull that off. It's like the
mhm.
former, I think it was NFL player Dick Hertz. Like,
Mhm.
just lean
Yeah.
into it, go for
Just
it.
go. Just Dick Trickle.
So
NASCAR racer. Just get in it.
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
But he's the one that's regarded for kind of developing the walk and talk style of the West Wing. Um, they were both Aaron Sorkin and Tommy Schlamme worked on the show for 4 seasons, then left after they butted heads with Warner Brothers Television. Um, so that's where a lot of people say the West Wing dipped and never got better. I disagree, but
Well, it's like WB, like Warner Brothers would be like, "Hey, we got a hit on our hands. We better really be careful with these guys now and make sure they do it right." It's like they've been doing it for
right,
4 seasons really well. What on earth?
yeah. Um, but it continued another 3 seasons. It went. John Wells was there from the beginning. He's one of the guys behind ER as well. So he kind of took over. Um, and it's funny, Aaron Sorkin actually in interviews, said he never watched any of the following seasons. I'm like, yeah, why would he?
Yeah.
But it's funny, he did make a cameo appearance in the series finale.
Hmm.
So and he went on to write a whole bunch more TV and movies. We talked about um, whatchamacallit, Newsroom. Before that, one of my favorites, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Um, and then he's moved in more to movies now. I think because he can have more control there than with TV stuff. So
Yeah,
uh,
he started directing too, not just writing, but he's been behind the camera. I can't remember what movie
Yeah.
it was. It was a pretty popular
yeah,
recent
it was
movie.
Well,
something
he just did the Lucy and Desi movie.
That
right.
was yeah, that's right. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, you can go check out his IMDb. You don't need me to tell you everything he's done and been doing. But
Mm-hmm.
one other thing I wanted to comment on also was the theme song, which is one of my favorite themes ever. Uh, Composed by W.G. Snuffy Walden. Um, and this is one of those guys who wrote music for television. He actually won an Emmy for the West Wing theme song. But he wrote themes and or scores for numerous shows, including 30 Something, The Wonder Years, Roseanne, Ellen, My So-Called Life, Felicity, Early Edition, Sports Night, The West Wing, George Lopez, I'll Fly Away, The Stand, Huff, Once and Again, Friday Night Lights, and Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Prolific.
Yeah, well,
He's
he's
done
hard
some
at
stuff.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, that's the other one I always like to bring up. And he was in charge of all the music on the show, period. So, writing the theme for the show, but there's also West Wing is one of those shows where every once in a while there's a specific song on an episode that just
Mhm.
makes it. Like what is it? The Bach cello thing everybody said, thinks about Master and Commander when they hear it. No, I think about the West Wing specific episode. Jeff Buckley's version of whatchamacallit, oh, what's the song? Okay.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. I always associate with the West Wing because of a particular episode and something that happened. So yeah, it's one of those good music shows. The show itself won 100 awards from 289 nominations, including 27 Emmys, 2 Golden Globes, and 2 Peabody Awards, among many others. At the time, it was tied for Hill Street Blues for the most Emmy wins
Oh, dang.
until Game of Thrones kicked its butt in 2016 with 38.
But was that really deserving? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it won a lot of
Standards.
Game of Thrones won a lot of costume.
Costume.
and you
Right.
can't argue with
Mhm.
that at all.
You can't,
No.
but I mean, a good looking suit on the right person, that's costume skill right
I mean,
there.
it is.
You know?
It is.
Yeah.
Just saying.
True.
Does it
So
service the story? That's where the award should come
Mhm.
from.
That's true.
So we watched season 2, episode 8, Shibboleth. Like I said, it's the Thanksgiving episode. One of the things I like about this too is it's into season 2, but it's still a good primer episode that doesn't give anything away for the rest of the series. It's a real good bottle episode. And just shows off everybody, including the previously on. So West
Yeah.
Wing, like most shows, does a previously on, and every once in a while they'll start it like this and just introduce the cast and their characters.
That
I
was
like
weird.
that.
Okay,
I-
yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry.
Well, I liked that because it started a previous on. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get any of these references, but fine. And it literally just tells you who the cast members are, like who the characters are in the show. Like, oh,
Mhm.
all right, cool. Now I know. I don't have to guess throughout the whole thing. Like, what does this guy do? I don't know.
Yeah.
The only thing that got me about that was it set up in my mind that this was like a switch in administration or something. like the last episode, it was just all these new people showed up, so I was really confused in the timeline because it's always the previous episode or at least in the season. But these people have been here since season 1, I'm guessing, and they just decided to recap all this. I wasn't ready for it. I was very confused. Like, well, how long has this guy been president?
Yeah.
Like yesterday? What are we doing? But
Mhm.
I get it. After I watched the episode, I understood. Like, it was just for
Yeah.
getting us to know people, and it was important. And when a bottled
Mhm.
episode, like you're saying, a show in a box like this is, you can do something like that because it's not leaning
Right.
on anything that's happened before, other than here's the
Mhm.
president and his staff.
Yeah.
And one funny thing, the previously on is on every episode all the time, except the pilot, of course. But we started watching it on Max last year after HBO turned into Max. And somebody at some point decided, yeah, if you're binging, you don't need that previously on. And it broke me.
Oh no!
It was weird. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing that. Yes, I can skip it if I want to, but I'm used to seeing that. It feels weird not hearing that dun 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 dun, dun previously on. Like having gone through the DVDs so many times and everything, that it was weird. Okay, enough old man Audie. All right, so we start off, I assume Sunday. Like this is the one time that they don't give us what day it is. which they do throughout the
Yeah,
rest
it's
of the
like at
episode.
night, and then the
Mhm.
next one is Monday, so it's gotta
Mhm.
be.
Yeah.
So we start off in San Diego. Some INS guy is coming, asking somebody else something. There's a boat from China with people in it. It's like, okay, something's going down. Then we cut back to Washington, where Sam, played by Rob Lowe, and Toby, played by Richard Schiff, are writing the president's Thanksgiving proclamation speech and
Or are they?
Yeah.
maybe starting a new show about Pilgrim detectives.
I was into that.
Yeah,
That part
I
I
would
was like,
watch that.
okay, all right,
hmm
I'm in. Churn
That's-
butter by day, solve crimes by night.
Okay, my one real tangent off of the episode. So, one of my favorite podcasts was called The West Wing Weekly. This may have been what you listened to,
It
Amy.
could have been.
Which was put on by Rishi Kasherway of Song Exploder and actor Joshua Malina, who later shows up in the series. He's actually somebody who's been working with Aaron Sorkin since he wrote A Few Good Men and stuff. So I did some fan art of the two of them as pilgrims, as pilgrim detectives,
Outstanding.
and got called racist on Twitter because of it.
Sure.
Because Rishi Kasherway is brown, and there were no brown pilgrims, so this is totally inaccurate.
What the devil?
Yeah, well, they also didn't come here for religious freedom either.
Mm-mm.
So it's all
Yeah.
irrelevant. This entire episode is built on a foundation of lies, as is the entire United States of America. So I
Well, yeah,
suppose
I
it all works out.
So
And
yeah,
you should
Pilgrim
know
detectives.
you're in Massachusetts.
I'm here. I have been
Right.
to Plymouth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I saw the rock.
But I do have to give a shout out to both Rishi and Josh, and the whole West Wing Weekly community had my back and shouted this guy down. He just would not back away from it. He was just like,
Wild.
dude, this is why it's
Jeez.
called fan art.
Yeah,
I'm not
is he
picking
aware
actual
of,
pilgrims. But anyways,
That's
Why
people
didn't
are
you draw in
stupid.
shackles? That's way more
I
accurate.
know, right?
Yeah, gosh.
Sir,
So,
calm down.
anyways, TJ comes walking in. Speaking of how well we know our history, comes in asking the guys about the Jamestown Mayflower Daughters of the American Revolution Preservation Society. And Toby just goes off trying to get it right and still gets it wrong anyways, for anybody actually paying attention.
Mhm.
So he talks about Jamestown being in the 16th century. Dear internet, it was not. It was in 1607 when it was founded. So
We were just,
that's
it's just,
it's all in the 17th
centuries
century.
are hard. It's cool.
They are.
So CJ's kind of ticked off that she feels like the Thanksgiving cruise director, and that on holidays like this, the guys check out like seniors in the finals. To which Josh comes in talking about how many times he flipped a nickel.
This
and it
is
came
my
out
this
tails.
is my
And I was
favorite.
like,
This is my favorite scene because I've been a government employee, and this is the most accurate portrayal of early Thanksgiving week
Mhm.
government operation I've ever seen. It's the sit and spin period of government work, which just means you're in your office chair at work, but mostly just rotating around in a circle because you're not.
it was
allowed to do
also
anything.
my, like, every experience I've had working with mostly men has also gone down like this.
Mhm.
When I worked at Rockstar, this is going. We're counting down till Pizza Friday on
Yeah.
Tuesday, and I'm like, we need to do something.
That's why they call it 10% Tuesday. You just
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know
So CJ leaves.
work a little
and then,
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. CJ leaves, and then Donna comes in with the turkeys from Jasper Farms. And they're like, what turkeys? The turkeys.
You know.
Apparently, there's turkeys.
Yeah.
So what do the boys do? They tell him to put them in CJ's office.
Now, let me tell you, it could be my first day working at the White House. And if someone shows up several days before Thanksgiving and is like, "Hey, I have the turkeys," I'm gonna go, "Oh, okay," because I am aware, of the process. This is not a
Mhm.
Right.
this is not a new thing. I am aware of the
Yeah.
turkey thing. I
Yeah.
feel like I would have known.
Yeah.
Even if you've never been working at the White House, like they make a big deal out of it every year.
Yeah.
So you're
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
worst case, you go, oh shoot, I forgot you were delivering
Oh,
those
is that today?
like this early.
Yeah.
Also, that
Mhm.
delivery guy, I recognize him. I don't know what from, but he's like Kmart AC Slater. I don't know what his face is. I bet I do him. And I looked him up, and I have no idea how I know him, but I know him from somewhere. That's all I had to say
He's
about
got that face.
Yeah. He looks
So-
like Chachi, like a muscular
Enemy is
version
someone,
of
and I can't
Chachi.
think of
Yeah.
who.
Yeah.
But anyways, they put the turkeys in CJ's office, and then Josh gets a call about a boat from China. And I have to say one thing about this transition. This is one of my favorite things that the West Wing does better than just about any other show. The transition from the cold open into the theme song.
Mm.
And just, having whatever is happening, even if it's taking a phone call, they make it uber dramatic into the theme music. And they do it so well, so often. One of my favorite things about the show. Okay, enough gushing. All right. So, and for anybody not familiar with the West Wing, this is one of those shows that has a bunch of different storylines going on. So we've already talked about turkeys and China. So we get to Monday. We find out more about the Chinese that came over. 96 left China, 83 made it. And he's telling this to Leo, played by John Spencer. And just giving him the lowdown to let him know what's going on. And then he also tells Leo not to tell the president about their Thanksgiving Day plans because he doesn't want a history of the yam in Latin.
What I love is Leo's reaction to
Yeah,
that.
so
It's
good.
just like the president
exactly.
doesn't care if you're going to watch.
Yes, of
football.
course, the president will be very concerned. Although I do feel like he might have been like,
Yeah,
oh, you should come. But
It's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's written early in the series, and it's like, yeah, no, he'd actually care, and there'd be
Yeah.
other conversations. But for now, the Chinese are in a temporary internment camp in San Diego. Then we get, so this is what happens on the West Wing. You move from one office to the hallways and start talking to people, and that's what happens. So now we've got Josh talking to CJ, who's asking Josh about recess appointments.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking to her that Toby wants to nominate Leo's sister, Josephine, and that this is going to be a whole thing. We're not sure what that thing is going to be yet, but we're going to find out. And then CJ goes to her office and finds the turkeys.
I'm gonna say that because she doesn't notice them until she sees it sitting on her
Mhm.
couch, she'd have smelled it.
Oh yeah.
She'd have opened that door and been like,
Mhm.
what is, especially
yeah.
a space that's your own. It does not have to be that
Uh-huh.
off for you to go, hang on.
Yeah.
And
took
if
a
you've
crap
ever
in my
been
desk drawer?
anywhere,
Yeah.
right? If you've ever been anywhere near a poultry farm of any kind, that is not a smell you will forget,
No.
nor will you not notice.
Yeah.
Nor will it be leaving that office
Ever.
soon.
Yeah.
Ever.
That couch,
Um,
pardon it also.
I did love Donna running in to explain and how she almost sounds like she's gobbling when she's like, I'm coming. And then explains to CJ that it's her job to pick which of the two turkeys is more photogenic to receive a pardon. Their
Troy
names
or
are, I don't
Eric.
want to know their names, Troy or Eric. Yep.
Troy doesn't like to be touched.
Mm-mm.
I liked everything with the turkeys.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
with the turkeys was aces because I have wild turkeys that come through my backyard and I love them so much. And there's like a lot of drama involved with them. There's a pack
Mhm.
of young males that are just sort of wandering. And I saw them today being like, what are you having for Thanksgiving? No,
Mhm.
go ahead, tell me what's on the menu. Like they're just so good.
Mhm. So then we switch from that to Charlie, played by Dule Hill. Now, Charlie's actual job is personal aid to the president. So his job is to do whatever the president needs him to do. So in this episode, it seems like a slacker job. No, this is whatever the president needs him to do, which in this case is find him a new carving knife. And so he brings him this carving knife. It's an American knife, no German knives for us.
Obviously not.
Until he starts holding it. It's like, nope, not going to work. You know what we need? A German knife? We need a German knife.
And look, as I said, I love Dule Hill and mostly from Psych. This this episode reminded me a lot of, like, it's a Burton Guster thing to go out looking for a very specific carving knife. And the way he would deliver all the info, I'm like, man, Dule Hill just knows how to play, like, do that character well. This is a less neurotic version, certainly. But I definitely saw, like, the seeds of that with the way he would describe the knives to him when he'd bring them
Now-
up. It was great.
The whole time, all I was thinking was, this is a man who clearly already has a carving knife. Like what? And like we get the payoff like at the end.
Right.
Mhm.
But I was like, the whole time I'm like, my dude already has a knife. Just tell him to use the knife that he has that he
Mhm.
clearly enjoys, because otherwise he would have done this already.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
my
And-
Dule Hill connection comes from the movie Holes. I loved him in Holes. I can fix that. Like that's how I knew him. So I
Mhm.
looked at him. I was like, "It's the dude from Holes," and I got all excited.
If you watch the rest of the West Wing, you're gonna be in for a lot more of the president having Charlie run random things or do random things. The president, if you haven't learned by now, is a big old nerd, and make sure that Charlie is at least up to par.
It felt like he didn't do a lot of presidenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like overall, there was not a ton of it.
hmm
It was
Yeah.
just there's a lot of people telling him things and him going, okay.
Sure.
That's how I would president. I mean, I don't.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm
that's the way to do
terrified to
it.
make a decision,
Yeah.
so I just let people come to me and like lay out a few options, A, B, or C. I need everything
Yeah.
simplified
Yeah.
to a multiple choice, so I can just be
Well,
like,
Preferably a dice roll.
yeah.
and in this series, you could argue that Leo is the one that does most of the heavy lifting of making decisions or telling people what to do, and the president sits back and makes the tough calls, which do happen on the show. Reminds me of the George Bush Dick Cheney relationship, where
Mm.
everyone said behind the scenes it was Dick pulling the strings, doing a lot of the stuff. So
No,
Charlie goes
it's-
to look for a new.
Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say no one should want this job. Like no one on the
No,
planet. It's
no.
it's
I mean, that's the thing they
dumbest
always
job.
say. That's the thing they always say about leaders, right? Like
Yeah.
the person that's going to be the best at leading is the one that does not want to do it because
Mhm.
they know.
Yeah. I mean, like
Mhm.
whatever's on the debate stage. How about the guy like off to the side, like that stagehand over there? Like that one.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna be great. Let's get
Probably
let's get him.
Mhm. So Charlie leaves to go find a new knife. Toby comes in to talk to the president about a recess appointment of Josephine McGarry to what is it, Undersecretary of Early Childhood
Education.
Education.
Oh,
Yeah.
education. Yeah, primary to
Yeah.
second to elementary.
Yeah,
or
that's what it
something.
was.
Yeah.
And Toby's angle is to start the debate on school prayer. To which the president is like, okay, but you're gonna get in it with Leo. And even on top of that, like the president has known her for 25 years. Interesting line he drops here that I did not ever investigate until now. Known her for 25 years and thinks she's all about Eve. Now, I assumed this was some Aaron Sorkin misogynistic thing that he just slipped in there until I researched it. No, he's referring to the 1950s film All About Eve. It was about a young actress trying to get into Hollywood and basically being friends with an older actress and trying to scheme her way into the circle of friends she has.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, interesting way he's describing her there. Leo comes in, as he does, being the president's chief of staff, and finds out what Toby's doing, and he's not happy at all. So he's like, you're going to take those meetings with the Republicans and figure out what the heck's going to happen. And Toby's like, yeah, okay. Then we get Josh and Sam coming into the president, and there's a new wrinkle to the Chinese refugees. They are now claiming they are evangelical Christians seeking asylum, which now makes it a whole new thing. All right. Tuesday. That was just Monday. Now we're on
Just
Tuesday.
Monday.
Yeah.
It was a
it's
real
very
Monday.
normal.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very Monday.
It, it also brought to mind, like, you remember back in this day, this was the year 2000, right? School prayer was a hot button topic for like
Mhm.
4 or 5 years. It's like the only thing anybody ever wanted to talk about. We kind of moved
Mhm.
past it and no one cares anymore. But back then it was like, so this was really
Yeah.
this reminded me of an era that I grew up in school hearing
I
about all the time.
I wouldn't say no one cares. Nobody's fighting about it like they used to, but
Sure.
man, every once in a while you hear that quip about prayer taken out of school, and it's just like,
It's somebody's grandma or boomer mom, like, hey, that's why there's
Mhm.
guns. Whatever.
Yeah.
Slow down. There's nuance.
So CJ's doing her actual job, briefing the press, talking to them about, trying to find the credibility of the Chinese seeking asylum. Josh and Sam are meeting with some Christian folks, so there's a good chance they're going to alienate all Christians, which is a big thing that this series and Josh especially does, going all the way back to the pilot. And then she, tells them about the Thanksgiving Day schedule for the week, and one of the reporters like, "You going to lead the kids in song?" And CJ's like, "Yeah, yes, yes."
The press secretary leads
Mhm.
the kids in song. Well, then, yes,
Yeah,
obviously I am.
yeah,
Which I
yeah.
felt for her in this moment, right? Because I am never going to admit to not being prepared. Like, my boss asked me to do something, and I'm like, yes, obviously.
Uh-huh.
I will Google how to do it
Mhm.
later.
Yeah.
But yes, I will do that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the
I've been there.
Queen of
storylines
competence.
involving CJ being the secretary and how well she handles stuff like this is amazing. It
I
makes
mean,
you
that's what you need in a press
Oh, it's
secretary,
insane.
right? Because they're
Oh
always
yeah.
going to be throwing the dumbest stuff at
Mhm.
you. And you
Mhm.
got to Bill Belichick it with that's a
Yep.
dumb question. You know, you're going to like
Right.
move on.
I legit told a senior leader one time that we could do a thing that I was only vaguely certain we could accomplish. And I had to figure it out in less than 15 minutes when he was coming to my office.
Outstanding.
Nailed it. But
Proud.
Nice.
whoo, I sweated bullets there for a hot minute.
So we get Sam and Josh actually meeting with the Christian people. Al Caldwell and Mary Marsh, and Mary Marsh comes out swinging. And that's her character again from the pilot. She shows up every once in a while, and it's just like, oh. And I love Josh's line, like, "I swear to God, you're not going to get anywhere by threatening us in this building." Um,
I just liked his reaction when he comes in. He's like, good morning. And she just lights into him. He's like, well, I guess we're done with good morning.
mhm. Yeah. So, the question about are they persecuted comes up, to which they all explain the different ways that Christians are persecuted in China. Al Caldwell's like, your State Department says it, I say it. It's a fact. It's happening.
Mhm.
And then Mary Marsh goes off, and Christians will not sit blithely by. Sam comes back at her about this play where there's a play about a gay Jesus,
I
and
would
the
watch the
theater
hell
was
out of that
threatened.
play. I want to see the
Yeah,
gay Jesus play.
for real. Um,
Well, and walking in, Josh is like, don't
Don't talk
don't
about
bring
it.
that
The
up.
whole way, the whole
And
walk and talk
the
down the
whole
hall.
walk and talk.
Don't bring it
And
up because you're
and like
just going to antagonize her.
yeah, and Sam's like, I don't. It might just slip out. He's like, just tuck it back in.
Yeah.
to which he
That's
can't.
how you
which was-
wind up in Pawnee.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
just can't let that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is, and that's pretty much Sam. He's got such a heart of gold. No wonder he ended up in Pawnee. To which Al Caldwell's like, Josh, can we talk? It's like, and they have a cool little talk outside, just like, I don't want to get into this. I just, look, whatever happens, we'll pay for it. We'll do whatever we can. We'll pay for it. Um, and I love when Toby walks by and Al's like, you seem determined, Toby. He's like, I am, sir. He's like, good boy. So Toby's going, now we switch to Toby, going to meet with the Republicans who are not happy. And they argue about it. Um, talking about how qualified she is, but she's against school prayer. Well, recess support appointment wasn't made for this. Well, you put down the filibuster, I'll put down the recess appointment. And I love it when Toby's like, not because I'm right and you're wrong, but I am, but because I'm simply better at this than you. And then, not this time. And one
Which
of the guys,
I have to say, Richard Schiff in that moment, it was such a
Yeah.
great delivery of that dialogue of like, it's not because I'm right and you're wrong, although I am and you are. It's because I am better at this than you are. And I was just like, ooh, that's a mic drop moment. And they come back in with just the
They're
counter
like,
punch
Yeah.
and hit him
one
with
more
it.
thing. They brought in the Columbo, just one more thing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
One more thing.
So commercial break, we go back to Toby now in Leo's office with the picture. Leo, who's even more unhappy about it, because it's a picture of his sister enforcing the law, arresting kids praying at a football game, with cops there with their hands on their nightstick. Not good. And I love how Toby's like, we could save this. We knew about it. And Leo's answer is, we didn't know there was art. And then his best line, the only thing breaking up the Norman Rockwell is the cops, the handcuffs, the nightstick, and my sister.
He does not need this on Thanksgiving week.
No.
He
He
does
just
not.
doesn't.
Yeah. Family's
No.
He
hard enough.
posts just once.
Mhm. So he gets his assistant Margaret, who's not in the opening credits, but one of the best characters on the show, hands down. Oh my gosh, Margaret's amazing. And then asks Toby, "What prize do we get for bringing this matter front and center?" Because he's like, "This isn't something that's needs to be done right this second. National security is not going to be upset by this." So now we cut to Wednesday. CJ's walking in asking for Donna's help. Josh is like, "Oh, you're gonna need help with the song?" She's like, "I know the song." To which she tells Donna, "I need help with the song." Um,
'Cause never let them see you sweat.
mhm.
100%.
And Donna is usually one of CJ's accomplices in whatever's going on, so it just fits that they're doing this together. I still love how Donna comes back at her about the "We Gather Together" song. It's like, didn't you learn it in elementary school like the rest of us? It's like, no, I actually work for a living, and actually studied actual stuff. Which I have to say,
I
I
don't
don't
know that I
remember
could
learning the
summon
song.
any of my other than like your real classic ones, I could not summon a middle school, like an elementary
No.
school song.
No.
I could
No.
summon
None.
the entirety of the Animal Alphabet tape, but not
There you go.
any of the
Well, not
random like
anything.
assembly songs.
I was gonna
No,
say
no.
nothing we sang in school. Anything on Sesame
No.
Street, that's
Yeah,
one
oh,
right
for
before.
sure.
You know.
Ladybug's
Um,
Picnic all day.
But she's got serious work to do, which is to go test Eric and Troy on their ability to handle camera flash. And she tells them, guys, it's been neck and neck, but
Which
Eric is
seems
gonna
like
go
a
to
really
you.
good turkey
Yeah.
joke.
It
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
It is
I really
Very
love
good.
her relationship with these
Um,
turkeys.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, she's like, "You know what I find really disturbing? I've been talking out loud this whole time."
No, embrace it.
Yeah.
Talk to the turkeys.
You
Uh-huh.
like them and you know it.
And then we
And
get
here again, just like Richard Schiff has that moment, this is Alice and Jenny just crushing it in this episode of like because the second she walks in, it's just slips right into like, all right, guys, look, it's been neck and neck, blah blah blah, and just goes with it. And I love that scene so
Mhm.
She's
much.
gonna do it the absolute best.
Mhm.
And that I've observed you all in a lot of situations.
Uh-huh. So then we get Josh and Sam with the INS people. So this is how meetings work on this show all the time. They walk down the hall, go into the office, sit for a second, and that's the end of the
And
meeting.
they're like, all right, thanks. I feel like that's probably how meetings do kind of go.
Yeah.
Probably.
They
You're not
can't-
renting out a conference room for any like
Mhm.
staffers will, but if you're an outsider, I feel like you're not.
Right.
You're sitting
So
down, you're getting a
There,
handshake.
the one thing they bring to this whole Chinese refugees who have paid a lot of money to get smuggled out, and
Who've
usually
promised a lot of money
who've
to
promised a
get
lot of money
smuggled out.
to get smuggled out, usually to be paid off in indentured servitude. INS mentioned that it's possible they have been coached with the Christianity angle. And Josh and Sam are like, great. But, it's a wrinkle, but Sam's like, they had to want this. I don't care why they say they wanted it. They had to want this to come over in that boat, in that container.
Sure.
So we cut to the president looking at a new knife. Still not liking it.
Not, yeah.
Not the one.
Josh and Sam come in to talk to him about what they've thought about as options, and also bring up that the refugees may be feigning their faith. To which the president asks them the magic word of the episode. Have you ever heard of Shibboleth? And it comes from the Bible. It's, kind of a passphrase, password kind of thing. And then the president says he's going to meet with one of the refugees. But first, I've got to go pardon a turkey.
The best part is because she keeps coming in and she's like, I
Mhm.
cannot all day with this turkey. Can you just?
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yep. Then we cut to Leo's office where Josephine, who we've been hearing about all this episode, actually shows up. She comes in ready for a fight, ready to do this. To which Leo pulls out the picture and shows it to her. And then mentions the photographer listed under the picture and tells her the story he knows of a stringer photographer when she was getting going named Audie Jones because of the name.
Because you would
remembered
remember
the name.
that.
Mhm.
And apparently, Audie at the time told Leo that every once in a while, Josephine would give him a heads up when something was happening. And that's how his career took off. And this is one of the things I really appreciate about this show is that Leo is talking to her about these kids who doesn't matter whether or not he agrees what they could or should not be doing. He calls them commendable in this day and age of, fighting for their rights to do whatever. And then he lays down that we have laws to be enforced, but we do not strut ever.
That line that nailed it for me. I wrote that down. I was like, we do not strut. That says so much about who Leo is and what he believes about the laws. Like, yeah, we're gonna enforce. We're gonna do the job. We're not gonna go spike the ball and dance on people that have had to be that have been dealt with by the law. It's such a cool phrase, and I'm gonna take it with me. Let's go into my back pocket.
And again, the way the cast that they cast this show with, you've got somebody like John Spencer delivering that line with that gravitas.
Oh man.
To which she immediately is like, okay, give me the paper to sign. I'm done. Knowing she's done. Anything else? Kiss your kids hello for me. It's like, okay. She walks out. Toby goes in. She'll get over it. And I love the little quip. She never got over me stealing her milk duds.
I wouldn't either. I flipping love milk duds. I don't care who hates them. They're great.
And then we get to the heart of Toby's matter with all of this. When he's like, why it should be front and center. And he's like, it's the fourth grader that sat out the school prayer because it's just another thing that makes kids different when they're required by law to be there. To which Leo looks at Toby and genuinely asked, what did they do to you? Like, Toby and Leo's relationship through this whole series is one of the more interesting ones. And it's that kind of question that he asks. And Toby doesn't give him a good answer. And then Toby also tells Leo not to let the president know about their Thanksgiving Day plans. And Leo again,
It's critical.
like, he honestly does not care about your plans, Toby. So then we cut to the president meeting with one of the Chinese refugees. Leo asks if there's an interpreter. He's like, no, he speaks English. He's a chemistry professor. No, I wanted to be a chemistry professor once. Yeah? What stopped you? Chemistry. So
turns out studying chemistry is important to be a chemistry professor. I mean, who knew?
Yeah.
Those who can't teach. I mean, you can't be.
I mean, it's what level? Like, are you teaching chemistry 1 in high school? Because then you only need to know what's in the book.
Yeah.
Then you'll be fine. But that's not easy either.
Yep. So he meets with Jin Wei and starts doing the Christianity questionnaire, which again, Jed Bartlet is a very schooled Catholic. there are several times in the series where he talks about almost becoming a priest. So, um, this is not necessarily something light to him, but it's very interesting that Jin Wei comes back at him like, yeah, Christianity is not some light thing you can just give a bunch of answers to. You're seeking evidence of faith. Faith is the true, oh, I know the word, Shibboleth. And I love how the president actually says back to him, you just said the magic word in more ways to one.
Yeah.
Um, so they send Jinwei out, and him and Leo have a little talk about this because the U.S. has a diplomatic relationship with China and doesn't want to mess that up. The bottom line, you got to ask yourself, how secure is the INS detention facility? Like, And then we finally cut to Thursday morning. We're finally at Thursday. CJ's walking in, telling Toby we're in, the Rose Garden in a few minutes. Toby's like, "Hey, if you're not doing anything, we're doing stuff." And CJ's like, "It's about damn time. Do you know how many offers I've been
Very
neglecting here and
glamorous
there?
offers.
Uh-huh. If you can't come, oh, I can come. I can come."
And then
Didn't
The
even bring
line.
anything.
Can you cook?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching football by myself in my house.
Uh-huh.
After that, I'm eating stuffing out of the big bowl. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
No, I
Mhm.
can't.
No.
Yeah, but notice how she gets back at him with simply a look. She's just like, glares.
Surely you just.
Okay. And then we find Morton Horn from Jasper Farms is back. Why is he back? Oh, he's supposed to take one of the turkeys back. And they're like, what?
Again, surely someone would have known that.
Somebody should have
Yeah.
known that for sure. But it's already been paid for. It's a $275 turkey. That's a lot for a turkey.
Yeah, mine is I get my farm raised field grown turkey from Walden, and it was like $80 for a small turkey. So yeah.
Yeah. So CJ says, bring the turkey, let's go. And then we get the president opening his door and asking Mrs. Landingham, one of his other secretaries. Mrs. Landingham has been with him for a long time. This is one of my other favorite relationships on this show. Because he's asking her for the Thanksgiving proclamation, and she scolds him for not using the intercom. The president's like, I was right here. She's like, you don't know how to use the intercom, do you? He's like, I was right here. Okay, after the ceremony, maybe we can get one of the fourth graders to show you how to use the intercom.
I love it when people in high positions of authority just get their butt handed to them by like some sweet person, like that one person that can talk to them like that, and it's okay,
right?
And I feel like if you're in a position of power like that, you need the person who can just bring you down. Every now and then, because I'd get so tired of hearing Mr. President forever. Like, oh my gosh, could one of you just talk to me like a human being so I know I have friends here? Because this is really a hard job just to feel like I've just got nothing but subordinates all over the place.
Right.
I would lose it.
We missed the line when CJ is arguing about like, no, we're gonna keep this turkey. We're gonna pay them, like we'll pay for the turkey, like whatever. But we're keeping the turkey. It's like, no, the only reason that Troy didn't get pardoned is because he doesn't like to be touched, and he doesn't deserve to be put to death for that.
Yes,
I
that's
love
true.
that.
Yep.
All about these turkeys.
So after the older lady schools the president on not being able to use technology, we get Charlie coming in with a Japanese knife. And president's like, oh yeah, I've tried that one. I don't like it. To which we finally get Charlie just being like, okay, that's it. All of these knives, cut meat. Why do you need a new one? It's like, it's something you pass on. And it's like, don't you already have one? He's like, I do. I'm passing it on. And I'm giving it to you. And gives him the box. And Charlie's like, oh, okay. I thought I knew everybody. PR. Don't recognize the manufacturer. And then the president says, this was made for my family by a Boston silversmith, Paul Revere.
Yeah, I know that guy. Heard that
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that name before.
He's on the
Yeah.
Sam Adams beer bottle.
name.
Yeah.
There you go.
To which the president says, I'm proud of you, Charlie.
Yeah, that was a
Again.
tearjerker. That got me.
One of my favorite relationships in this show is between the president and Charlie. And just to lay it down, yes, the president was apparently related to some of the original colonists and
Yeah, that's fine.
throws that down
Yeah.
every once in a while. All right. Then CJ comes in. And I love when she comes in. I'm sorry to ask you, sir. It's not too late to stop yourself.
Nope.
And ask the president to pardon the other turkey. And he's like, didn't I do it right? Aren't I going to be known as soft on turkeys?
I like that.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
CJ's like, well, one turkey gets a full life and the other one gets eaten. To which the president was like, well, if the Oscars were like that, I'd watch.
Which I'm going to agree with him
Yeah.
on that.
Uh-huh. And he's like, I have no not jurisdiction over birds. CJ's like, I know that. You know that. But I'm betting the high school kid probably doesn't.
Mhm.
And the president's like, if we don't completely overhaul public education in this country,
Yeah, dude. It's not gotten better.
No,
It's
it
fine.
still sucks.
so he walks out of his office, he sees a turkey. He's like, you're pardoned. To which CJ's like, can we do a little razzle dazzle? It's like, hereby you're pardoned.
By the power vested in me.
Mhm.
The Constitution
And,
of the United States of America.
The high school kid's like, great. And pardon. And the president's like, it's not okay. If you think I can do that, you need to go back and demand more from your public service. Tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to draft this turkey into military service and have a check made with the president's name on it.
That's so
And-
And
good.
go buy a butterball.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Mr. President, that butterball is going to be frozen. And I don't know what you think they're going to do because that's going to take like a turkey that size going to take a minimum of like a week in the refrigerator to
Mhm.
defrost. So I don't
And it's
know what you're
already
doing.
Thursday morning.
It
So
is already
it's
Thursday
already too
morning. It
late.
should
Right.
already be in the oven. This
Mhm.
person is already
Right.
angry they don't have their turkey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That bird
You
should be
ruined
dead.
Thanksgiving, Mr. President.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
first of all, you there's no way you could process Troy the turkey Thursday morning.
No.
You could not.
Mm, no. So
Unrealistic.
yeah, but dramatically fun.
Mhm.
Josh and Sam come in with news of the refugees, which the president first tells them that the Latin word for yam is discoria.
Oh no.
Like, I love that it comes back from Josh saying, I don't want to learn what the Latin for yam is, and the president heard that somehow.
It's because
Like-
it's you said it in the White House. You
Yeah.
can't
Right.
say anything in the White House without everyone knowing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Have we learned nothing?
especially this president.
Yeah.
But apparently the Chinese refugees escaped. Yeah, can you believe it?
Oh.
No. To which the president's like, we didn't do anything illegal. Simply stood down the reserve, called in the Red Cross. Chinese saves face, and we don't have to send them back. As they're walking out, I love it. This is one of those things where I really enjoy this about the series. It's like, of all the things you could be doing as presidents, like, they made it to the New World, and now I get to proclaim a national day of Thanksgiving. This is a great job.
It's
that's
the only
where-
presidenting he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't have to
This
shoot
episode-
missiles
He pardoned
at
the turkey.
anything or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Well, that's true. He did pardon the turkey. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude, if I had 4 years of presidenting like this, that'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's usually crisis after crisis after crisis.
Yep. So that was the episode. One more interesting thing about that I found out about the National Thanksgiving Turkey presentation. So this is a ceremony that takes place at the White House every year before Thanksgiving. The president is presented with a live domestic turkey by the National Turkey Federation. And it's usually a male of the broad-breasted white variety. Um, the ceremony actually dates back to the 1940s, and early on, basically up until the 70s, these turkeys were just presented and then slaughtered and eaten. Um, it was in the 70s when it became standard practice to spare the turkeys.
Ah.
It was during the presidency of George H.W. Bush that it became a tradition, and ever since then, for the president to issue a ceremonial pardon.
I like this. I like the fiction here that all turkeys are criminals. They're all death row criminals, and
Mhm.
I enjoy that.
That's really great.
Yep.
The kayfabe is good.
I mean, listen, if
Yeah.
you've ever interacted with a
I mean,
turkey
they
in the
are.
wild, they are. Like,
Bird
Oh, yeah.
friendliness is inversely proportional to size.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, unless you're talking about a cassowary, those are then it's a whole different animal.
That's a whole
Ah,
other.
I mean, it
Yeah.
actually is a whole different animal, but it's
It kind of
Yeah.
is.
a giant killer, a giant killer bird.
Yep.
Well, that's why it's inversely proportional.
Oh, right,
little
right, right,
birds, little
Yeah.
birds, very friendly. Little
I
quails, little
thought- yeah.
button quails, they love you. Ostriches will kick your stomach open.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
will die.
And then steal your wife. It's just that's
Mhm.
just what they do.
although I did recently hear I saw a video and heard a kiwi call for the first time, and it was not what I expected.
No.
And it was kind of frightening.
I mean, we
So,
can get into bird chat. Kiwis,
Yeah.
they lay eggs that are so big that when it's almost time for them to lay their eggs, they sit in cool pools because it feels good on their bellies.
Oh my
Mhm.
And the
goodness.
fruit is named after the bird, not the other way around.
How
Mhm.
about that? I love a kiwi
There you go.
fruit. That was fun.
Amy with the knowledge.
Yeah.
So that was the West Wing. So, what did everybody think? Are we going to be watching more?
I
Amy?
want to watch more. Oh, sorry, I just stole the thunder.
No, go
from
ahead.
under you.
Yeah,
I want
go
to watch
ahead.
more for sure. I wanted to watch more a few years ago. The first time I tried, I just didn't. I couldn't find the time or the company. But I might just have to peel off some time because I really did enjoy this. This was great.
If I was like made to watch more in a podcast setting, it would be fine. But I'm not gonna like I really just want to go watch the newsroom again
Sure.
instead.
I have that struggle all the time as well.
I did enjoy this episode. It's something that I wouldn't not watch it, but I've got so many things on my plate, like it's hard to slot it in somewhere. But I can I can absolutely appreciate the craft that goes on behind it. I think political drama is a little tougher for me to just kind of get into, but I also wouldn't like actively avoid this either.
Yeah. And, for right now it's on Max, so it's right there if you do want to watch it. So feel free. But yeah, this is one of those shows I watch at least once every year. So, along with Newsroom and now Studio 60 and Sports Night. Yeah, I kind of like Aaron Sorkin stuff. Yeah, kind of like it. Kind of
Yeah,
miss
he's
his
good.
television.
He's good.
So, did we get any feedback about this episode at all?
Holy
Anywhere?
smokes, you would ask that.
Any
Hold
emails?
on, I'm being handed a piece of paper. Wait, no, I'm not. Maybe not
Wow,
being
we're
handed.
so good at this.
We're so look.
Here you go, Steven.
Yeah.
Foley work. There we
I
go.
gotta
President,
I gotta
I have
pick
some
my right
paperwork for
mail
you.
channel. No, we don't have anything. We don't have
Okay.
anything. This was just a blank piece of paper handed to me.
Never mind.
There's nothing on it.
We did get one message from Skeezix on Twitter.
Oh,
Says, finishing up watching the West Wing episode from tonight, and I am in tears. What an amazing episode to pick.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I get that. That knife ceremony got me. It's good stuff.
Yep. So,
I did very much appreciate the payoff of all of those moments
Mhm.
throughout the episode. Like the moment with Leo and his sister pays off that story arc. Like all the 3 or 4 different little threads throughout it all got tied up in a way that was rather satisfying.
mhm.
So I did like that.
I feel like I would have been like Mr. President, I would much rather that you had just kept your knife for like one more day and not sent me running around to every Williams Sonoma in DC to find you a knife that you don't actually want. Like, I really wish that you could have just done this at any time and not me at the mall
Yeah.
the day before Thanksgiving.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting part too is so the president doesn't have a knife yet. So now Charlie has to find him something that compares to Paul Revere's knife.
Yeah, right.
So saying, I don't know
Mm.
how, like, function wise, I don't know how great that knife's gonna be.
I don't know if I approve my taxpayer dollars go to the president's knife. That's, I will write a strong letter.
Well, he gets paid. I mean, he could be paying
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
he gets a salary.
Probably
He gets
is
paid.
the-
Pay for.
Okay,
White House
his wife's
silver
a
budget.
doctor.
Oh,
His
okay.
wife is
Yeah.
a doctor. They're
That's
fine.
Fine.
Oh, they got money. They're good.
They're fine. You know,
They're
he's
good.
The White House is a step down.
a Bartlett with ties to whatever from whenever. So he's
Yeah,
he's
that's
okay.
definitely a Massachusetts name
Yeah.
for sure.
So, but yes, if you want to write in and let us know your thoughts on the West Wing, feel free to email us. thosewerethedayshow@gmail.com. Do like Skeezix and reply to us on Twitter at thosedayshow, or come at the rest of us on our socials. You know where to look for us.
I put them all in the show notes on the YouTube
Yeah.
and the podcast description, so
Yep.
you can find them.
So next week, Steven is bringing us a show. Steven,
Yes, I
what
am.
are we watching?
I went on the hunt, ladies and gentlemen, for a good Thanksgiving show. I looked up what are some great classic Thanksgiving shows. WKRP popped up. Already did that one. Funny enough, the Bob Newhart show has a top-notch Thanksgiving episode. However, I did Bob Newhart last year. You're just going to have to wait. Maybe next Thanksgiving I'll bring you the joy that is the Bob Newhart show's Thanksgiving episode. So I picked a show that it kind of takes place around Thanksgiving and that there's a Thanksgiving parade in it. But it's not necessarily about turkey. But I'm going to give you a little hint. You can tell me if you can recognize what show we're going to do based on this. That is right.
That's a good one.
We are doing Seinfeld. I could not be more excited about this. I'm pumped. Anyway, I've spoiler alert. I already watched the episode we're gonna watch, and I approve.
I know exactly what episode it is, and I am. It's great.
You're in.
I'm
You're
so
right.
excited.
It's
Nice.
season 4, episode 8. I looked this up earlier. Season 6, episode 8. The Mom and Pop Store is the episode we're going to be watching. If you haven't seen it, great. If you have seen it, watch it again because Seinfeld you can watch over and over, and it's just a joy every time. So I'm really excited about it. Again, that is season 6, episode 8, available on Netflix. So get out there, watch it, and
Nice.
come join us on Monday.
Yeah, and definitely let us know your thoughts about that one too. Like,
Yeah.
we want to hear your feedback, so let us know. Email us, reply on Twitter, throw a rock, whatever. Let us know. But until next week, we have been your humble public servants to you, our fellow citizens of the internet. So, for Amy, Steven, and Travis, I'm Audie, and this has been Those Were the Days. See you next week for Seinfeld. And remember, the president doesn't actually have any constitutional power to pardon a turkey. Bye, everybody.
Tommy Schlamme.